Welcome, everyone. We are waiting for everyone to be admitted, and then we'll get started. So we're glad you're here this evening. Looking to see if Mr. Fun has joined us yet from the Decatur Business Association. I believe he is going to kick things off for us.
Hey, Mayor, I think Jill Joplin may be, I know she needs to be unmuted. So if someone can unmute Jill Joplin, she's gonna open us up.
All right, that sounds great. So welcome, Jill. She is, I believe, the president-elect of the Decatur Business Association. So we're glad you're here and you're unmuted. So please feel free to kick us off.
Hi, thanks. Sorry for the delay tonight. I'm going to actually apologize. Daryl has not come in yet, so we're going to go ahead and get things started. And I am going to actually hand it over to City Manager Andrea Arnold to present the Thomas O. Davis Award.
All right. Thanks, Jill. Good evening, everybody. It's good to see everybody's faces here on Zoom. I hate that we're back here again on Zoom, but it certainly is better than nothing. And so it really is, it's my privilege, my honor tonight to present the Thomas O. Davis Award. There's the photo of Mr. Davis. Decatur's Thomas O. Davis Award honors someone who helps strengthen the bond between government and the community. Someone who serves as a role model for others in public service, contributes to the well-being of the community, inspires others to get involved in public service, and serves the public with respect. And the award is named for Decatur's longtime city attorney, Thomas O. Davis, who embodied these attributes every day of his distinguished career. Mr. Davis served as Decatur's city attorney from 1968 until his death in 2000. And I had the privilege to work with Mr. Davis for just a few years when I first started at the city in the late 90s. And I remember his respect for the law, his attention to detail, his responsiveness, and his sharp mind like it was yesterday. His work ethic left a lasting impression on me and is something I can only aspire to. Even today, I find myself at City Hall late in the evenings poring over his legal opinions from over 25 years ago. And so tonight, I have the special privilege to honor a member of our Decatur community who embodies that work ethic and spirit of selfless public service. And the 2022 recipient of the Thomas O. Davis Award is Gary Menard, a captain in our fire department. And I see that Gary is here. And I'd like to say or share a few words before turning it over to Gary, a few words that help paint a picture of Gary's commitment and dedication to our community. Now, I know that Gary prefers being behind the scenes, out of the spotlight, but this evening, I want to share with you some of the amazing work that Gary does quietly to improve our community and never seeking attention or credit. Gary embodies the Fred Rogers, the Mr. Rogers quote, "When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, 'Look for the helpers.' And you will always find people who are helping." And Gary is one of those helpers. From the first day on the job, he looked for ways to help the community, to help others within the fire department, and to help his colleagues within the entire city organization. Gary regularly works shifts that are not his own so that other fire staff can be home with family on special occasions and during holidays. He recently worked alongside the Decatur Youth Council on a very successful food and toiletries drive. He made sure the collection barrels that were all over the city, that they were checked regularly, donated items were weighed. Then he led a group of the DYC, the Youth Council members, in the sorting and distributing process. And his positive outlook and just genuinely joyful assistance contributed to the success of this drive. And Gary takes immense pride in being a public servant and leads by example. As a frontline employee, he works tirelessly to strengthen the bond between government and our community. He partnered with the Decatur Prevention Initiative's Youth Action Team and also the Georgia Burn Foundation to create a heartwarming pinwheel display in support of burn survivors. Gary supports the training and development of his staff and really inspires everybody to be a better version of themselves. He is always the one to step up and volunteer for any task. And many of you may know he's our wellness champion. He always has tips and ideas on maintaining physical fitness while following a strict vegan diet. I can only aspire to his healthy habits. His commitment to wellness extends beyond the employees to reach our residents and the community. For example, he created a children's obstacle course to help our youth stay active, and he leads community walks and runs. And during the pandemic, Decatur created a vaccine awareness campaign featuring posters with photos and quotes from employees in different departments, trying to encourage other employees to get vaccinated. And of course, Gary volunteered to participate in this campaign, and he provided us with the following quote. Listen carefully. "More than anything, it's about taking care of other people. It's what matters in life. I wish that's how everyone would think, and that we all could work toward the greater good." And I think that quote sums up what Gary represents: someone who cares for others over himself, puts the greater community good first. Gary's a true role model for all of us in public service, reminds many of us why we've committed ourselves to public service. And I believe there's no more laudable service than service to our communities. So Gary, thank you for your public service. all that you do to make our community better. So everyone join me in recognizing Captain Gary Menard as the 2022 recipient of the Thomas O. Davis Award. And Gary, if you would like to say a few words, now it's your opportunity.
That was so nice. I know my face is many deep shades of red right now, so I can't thank you enough for all of those words. I'll be very brief and respectful of everybody's time, but Chief Washington told me about this 3 days ago, and it's still hard for me to process it because there are so many dedicated, passionate people that work for the city of Decatur. It's just hard to believe that I would have actually gotten this award. So I'm so honored. And I just want to take a moment to thank Chief Washington and the city of Decatur for always giving the support and the resources for the firefighters to do anything they can think of to help the community. They're always supported with any initiatives that are going to do good for the community. I think all firefighters are just extremely grateful that the community gives them the opportunity to help them in so many different ways, and they trust them with that. But we are so fortunate that we are actually able to do it in this community, which is just so grateful and so thankful all the time. And I'm also very grateful that I have firefighters underneath me that support me when we get a call and they've had the first chance to eat all day, and I say, let's go put some birds back in a bird's nest on Adair Street. And they don't look at me like I'm crazy. Or I say, let's go see if we can get this kid's skateboard out of the water drain. And they're on board with that. They know that it's the small things as well as the big things. So I just want to thank everybody so much. I am so honored. And lastly, I just want to remind everybody they're very low on blood right now. If everybody can go out and donate blood, or even better, platelets, that would be great. And again, thank you all so much. And I am just so honored.
All right. Thanks, Gary, and congratulations again. It really was my honor to award you with this recognition. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Garrett, who is going to recognize a few of our employees, few of our public servants. So I'll turn it over to Mayor Garrett for the service awards.
All right, thank you. I do want to add my congratulations to Captain Menard, very well deserved. I met Captain Menard, I believe, on his first week on the job. He was working at one of our festivals, and he told me how excited he was to be working for the city of Decatur. And I have to say that excitement goes both ways. So thank you for your service to the city. And I'd now like to recognize some employees who have been with us for at least 15 years. At this meeting, we recognize employees in 5-year increments, starting at 15 years of service. And the first person that I would like to recognize is Felix Floyd, who is the facility superintendent in public works. So thank you for your service, and congratulations to Felix Floyd. So he's our first one at 15 years. And with 20 years of service, we have investigator Robert Lindsay. He is a police criminal investigator. And so thank you to Investigator Lindsay, and we thank you for your dedicated long-term service to the city of Decatur. Next, I would like to recognize Nanetta Violante. She's the Assistant Fire Chief and Marshal of the Fire and Rescue Department. And I think I've known Nanetta almost 20 years. So congratulations, and thank you, Nanetta, for your service. She gives Captain Menard a run for his money on that fitness, I have to say. So congratulations to Nanetta. And then finally, with 25 years of service, we are really grateful to these two employees. Police Lieutenant Dana Knipe, who is part of the police patrol unit, and Captain Jennifer Ross, who is in police administration. So please join me in virtually thanking all of these employees for their service to the city of Decatur. So again, congratulations and thank you to these employees. Next, I want to welcome the newly elected City Schools of Decatur School Board Chair, Jana Johnson Davis, and she's going to bring us her remarks this evening about the City Schools of Decatur. So welcome, Jana. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, and good evening. Thank you to Mayor Patti Garrett, Mayor Pro Tem Tony Powers, and Commissioners Kelly Walsh, Lisa Meyer, and George Dusenberry for allowing the City Schools of Decatur to have this opportunity to share the accomplishments of our wonderful school district in spite of the challenges that we have faced this school year. I want to acknowledge my fellow CSD board members, Ms. Tasha White and Mr. James Herndon, as well as our superintendent, Dr. Maggie Furman, for their grace under pressure during this difficult time. I would also like to welcome and acknowledge our two new school board members, Mr. Hans Utz and Dr. Carmen Sultan. We are so happy to have you join the board and we look forward to working with you. So I'm going to ask Dr. Furman and school board members, would you all please wave your hands? Thank you. So the school board is grateful for the collaboration with our counterparts on the City Commission. The close and constructive working relationships between the city commissioners and staff and our CSD board and staff are a tremendous benefit to our entire community. CSD was proud to work with the community-based committee last year to evaluate the current senior homestead exemption and to propose 2 new age-based exemptions. With the help of the commissioners and our legislative delegation, we were able to get the exemptions on the November ballot where they were approved by the voters of Decatur. We also appreciate the ongoing collaboration between the city and CSD to share data regarding new development projects in Decatur and the impact on CSD student enrollment numbers. This collaboration plays a big part in our planning for growth in enrollment numbers and facility planning. There are many other ways in which we collaborate with the city, including safe routes to school, crossing guards, school resource officers, and the use of city parks adjacent to school grounds. We look forward to continuing our ongoing partnership over the next year and beyond. Additionally, we are incredibly grateful for all of the community partners and their tremendous impact that they have had on our school system this year. This is no way an exhaustive list, but we would like to thank the Decatur Education Foundation, Decatur Housing Authority, the DeKalb County Board of Health, and DeKalb Pediatric Center for all you do for our students and community. There are some incredible things happening in CSD, and I will start with the work that is happening around equity. The board is proud of the equity work that CSD has engaged in. We share the district's vision and we wholeheartedly support this effort. Over this last year, CSD has made many accomplishments regarding equity, and I want to acknowledge and celebrate some of them here. CSD has prioritized the framework for courageous conversations about race. This framework involves a series of sessions that include open and honest discussions addressing racial and academic disparities through safe, authentic, and effective cross-racial dialogue. As of today, all CSD teachers and staff have held these discussions and completed the courageous conversations about race training. In contrast to how other school systems are handling racial incidents, CSD is directly addressing these types of situations at Renfrew and Decatur High by providing anti-racism and equity instruction this spring for students in grades 6 through 12. During this instruction, entitled Scholars Examining and Engaging Equity, students will discuss the history of race and difference, examine their comfort or discomfort with talking about issues of difference, and learn active ways to combat microaggressions and cyberbullying. CSD has expanded our racial affinity groups for more employees to engage in conversations about their development journey towards racial justice with those who share their racial identity. Research shows that racial affinity groups help employers attract more diverse candidates, reduce turnover, and increase employee morale. CSD has now added additional affinity groups for Asian staff, Black male staff, and administrators of color. Our Decatur High School Asian Culture Club students, working with the Equity and Student Support Office and their advisor, Ms. Elizabeth Lewis and Glenwood Elementary, have created a program to mentor and reach out to younger Asian students in the district. The primary goal of this outreach is to let younger students know that despite comprising a small number, they are not alone. And they have a place of refuge to report or discuss any anti-Asian bias that they experience due to the increase in bias against Asian Americans that we have witnessed across the country during this pandemic. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion committees at each of our schools have continued to host workshops and well-attended events, even during this pandemic. For example, parent DEI committees at Winona Park and Oakhurst recently held a hot chocolate and book event where students enjoy reading 4 books with diverse representation, which were also written by diverse authors. The selection of books was curated by the Brave and Kind bookstore. Additionally, a joint coalition of lower elementary DEI parent committees is sponsoring a CSD Lunar New Year celebration at Legacy Park on January 29th. We hope everyone will come out. Over the summer, Renfro individuals and society teachers work with professors at Agnes Scott College, the Georgia State Archives, and Kennesaw University on decolonizing the individuals and societies curriculum. Some of you all may be more familiar with the humanities label or social studies, but now it's known as individuals and society. Additionally, all hiring managers at CSD will be expected to use our equitable hiring tool, a process created to ensure the use of equitable hiring practices and thereby increasing the number of diverse hires at CSD. Our Decatur High students continue to amaze us with their activism and commitment to social justice. Many Decatur High students and teachers took part in a teach-in on the Decatur Square that addressed Indigenous American disenfranchisement and the recent resistance in many states, including Georgia, to teaching the truth about the systemic racism inherent in U.S. history. CSD is also excited about recent innovations in our work to support the goals of our Student Code of Conduct and restorative practices. Multiple school teams are now crafting specific plans to increase the use of alternative discipline and restorative practices and to establish specific SMART goals and ongoing professional learning to further enhance school culture and climate. Collectively, these efforts will make each CSD school a safe place to learn and work for students from all racial and cultural backgrounds. And the district continues to maintain an active and updated equity website to provide key resources and information about CSD's equity work. Please check out this work at our website at equity.csdecatur.net for more information. So you all please bear with me because we have so many good things happening here at City Schools of Decatur. And I want to now share some of the things that are happening in our Human Resources Department because they have been equally as busy. They completed the redesign of the employee handbook, making it a clear resource and depository for district procedures, protocols, and employee expectations. Our HR department hosted CSD's first virtual job fair, which allowed us to access a broader reach of highly qualified educators. HR implemented a new hire induction program for employees who are new to the district. This program includes 30, 60, and 90-day check-ins for our new employees. CSD's Human Resources Department also completed a comprehensive compensation study to ensure competitive salaries for all CSD staff. We are very proud of our collaboration with the community to enlist parent substitutes as we return from the holiday break in order to keep students in-person learning. And we are also grateful for our stellar substitutes that we have been able to recruit for each school. CSD's Information Services Department has helped the district to transition to a new fiber optic network built in conjunction with the city. This project spanned 3 years and over 62,000 linear feet of digging and cabling. This new network is expected to serve the community for at least 20 years. Through the work of Information Services, the district has tripled our bandwidth and conducted significant network infrastructure updates to support not only concurrent learning, but also to build long-term capacity for accelerated use of rich media content consumption and creation in our schools. This year, the district launched a versatile take-home one-to-one device program at Renfro and Decatur High. We are also grateful to have replaced over 200 end-of-life active boards with state-of-the-art mobile active panels that will allow students to see vibrantly and hear vibrant, engaging learning resources. With 100% grant from the Georgia Department of Education, we deployed exterior Wi-Fi to support outdoor learning. And we are proud of the support that Information Services has provided to the Decatur Virtual Academy and the brand new Chromebooks that were given to all of the students who requested one. Moving on to CSD's Operations Division, they have completed so many projects that we would be here all night if I began to share them all. However, I do want to acknowledge the replacement of the playground surface and the installation of awnings at the Early Childhood Learning Center, the replacement of cooling towers at Westchester and Glenwood Elementary Schools, the installation of new water monitoring systems throughout the district, the redesign and update of the Emergency Response Procedures Manual for all CSD schools, the purchase of cafeteria furniture for Winona Elementary, earning the Well Health Safety Rating for all schools, trail improvements at Westchester and the installation of a retention wall and bridges, the installation of a landscaping irrigation system at Fave, the replacement of and upgrade to new LED lighting at Decatur High and Renfro, and the purchase of band instruments at both of those schools, and the installation of new workstations here at the Wilson Center. We appreciate our Operations Division and all they have accomplished so far this year. Moving on to CSD state and federal programs. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, also known as IDEA, requires that states review the data of each school district to evaluate the district's performance in meeting requirements and purposes of the Individual with Disabilities Education Act, or Special Education Program. Based on 2020-2021 data, we are proud to announce that CSD has been determined to meet requirements at 95%, and the district continues to perform in the meets category with a high percentage rate. Thank you to everyone in the Special Education Department for all of the work that you do to support these complex and highly technical areas. CSD's Teaching and Learning Department is committed to providing effective, standards-based materials that reflect our commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, high-quality teacher training, and data-driven support programs. This year, some of the accomplishments that we would like to celebrate include the increase of intervention efforts, including K-12 summer programming, intensive sessions over the fall and winter breaks, and the expansion of our extended day tutoring program. This school year, we also added 11 school-level intervention teachers and added a district intervention specialist who is working tirelessly to support daily school-level interventions, plan programs, and monitor student data. Through district-wide collaboration, we continue to facilitate the creation and ongoing revision of common pacing guides to have coherence among our grade level and content area teachers. CSD continues to lead literacy work statewide by participating in the Georgia Dyslexia Pilot and through our support of students with characteristics of dyslexia by training 2 cohorts of our elementary teachers in Orton-Gillingham methodology. And another cohort is in their 2nd year of language essentials for teachers of reading and spelling. The district continues to conduct a comprehensive bi-weekly K-2 foundational reading training series for our paraprofessionals that was developed by the district's reading coaches. CSD math team is in the process of making recommendations for new mathematics resources, and our teachers have been trained on the Georgia Numeracy Project, which is an evidence-based resource that helps students build a solid foundation in numeracy. This year, the district launched the Decatur Virtual Academy, where approximately 100 CSD students in grades K-12 are able to engage in online learning. We are also excited about our work with the team of CSD stakeholders to examine our grading practices through an equity lens in order to make recommendations for future practices. And I can't end this address without sharing some of the significant accomplishments happening in our schools, including Oakhurst being named a National Blue Ribbon School. CSD's graduation rate is now 96.73%. Our sports teams at Renfro and Decatur have been tremendously successful, with several going to regional and state playoffs and a couple teams winning state championships. Our extracurricular activities are also thriving despite having to adjust to the protocols of the pandemic. Our chorus and band students are consistently honored for their many achievements, as well as the students from the debate teams and our CTAE programs. And last but not least, Claremont Elementary School was designated as a Title I Distinguished School Scholar for 2021. So in spite of the challenges that we have faced as a district this year, CSD continues to thrive and our students continue to excel. I know some of you may be thinking, what's next for CSD? Where do we go from here? And for my response, I will offer a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We must walk on in the days ahead with an audacious faith in the future. I'm excited about the future for CSD and the great things that it will bring for our students and community. Thank you again to Mayor Garrett and the City Commissioners for allowing CSD to participate in tonight's program.
Thank you so much for sharing. There is a lot to celebrate with CSD, so we really appreciate that update. And now I believe Mr. Fun is going to join us briefly, and then we'll go from there. So Mr. Fun, I will turn it over to you. Mr. Fun is muted. So if we can unmute Daryl Fun. Okay, take it away.
There it is. Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? I am so glad to be here to see all of your amazing faces. I so wish that we were in person to have this meeting, but I think 2022 looked at the rest of the years and said, hey, hold my beer. So that's why we're like in this space now again. So let's not let it do any of that crazy shenanigans anymore. As I look, I don't see anything on here that I was actually supposed to do. Is there something that I'm missing on the agenda? Or am I just supposed to introduce the awesome and amazing, the wonderful, the extremely beautiful Patti Garrett? That's our wonderful, amazing mayor. Of course, we'll never forget to do that. So let's give it up one time for Miss Patti Garrett, the most amazing mayor ever in existence. Woohoo, yeah!
Thank you, Mr. Fun. I always want to take you anytime I speak anywhere and let you do the introduction. So I will see, and I think Renee Madison is going to help me with my slides this evening. So I want to again say thank you to Jana for that update. We really look forward to working together with City Schools of Decatur this year. Our common goal is to always work together for the benefit of our community. And thanks to all of you with CSD for being here, for your genuine commitment to the City Schools of Decatur and to our community. And I also want to recognize that we have some of our federal, state, and county partners who have joined us this evening. We have representatives from Senator John Ossoff's office, from Senator Raphael Warnock's office, from Representative Nikema Williams' office, and Congressman Hank Johnson's office. We are so grateful to our federal partners. I'll talk a little bit more about some of the exciting opportunities that we have with using federal dollars a little bit later on. I also want to recognize that State Representative Becky Evans has joined us this evening, and as Jana Johnson-Davis mentioned, that we are grateful to the work of our state representatives for helping us get the senior tax exemption passed. I believe we have DeKalb County Commissioners Lorraine Cochran Johnson, Steve Bradshaw, Marita Davis Johnson, and Commissioner Jeff Rader joining us. So I think our relationship with the county is in a great place as well, and we appreciate their partnership. I think former Mayor Bill Floyd is joining us this evening, and I want to give him a special shout out for his support of me first as a commissioner and certainly now as a mayor. And I think we also have the Mayor Pro Tem George Turner from Stonecrest joining us, and Mayor John Ernst from Brookhaven. So welcome to those guests and to all of you, and thank you for joining us this evening. And as we look at the accomplishments of 2021, we can look at the next slide, because these are some people I really have to thank. It's important to recognize that none of these accomplishments would have been possible without the contributions of so many of you who are in our virtual audience this evening, our community partners, our appointed boards and commissioners, and our city staff. Certainly a special shout out to and a special thanks to our unflappable city manager, Andrea Arnold. And of course, I want to thank my fellow commissioners who are here this evening, Mayor Pro Tem Tony Powers, Commissioners Kelly Walsh and George Dusenberry. Commissioner Lisa Meyer is celebrating one of her children's 16th birthday. So I think she's going to watch us at a later date, but I really and sincerely appreciate the work of my fellow commissioners. I hope you all will give a wave and please take a virtual bow. Together, we've led through adversity and challenging times, and together with each of you, we've achieved some remarkable accomplishments. And thank you for the opportunity to serve as mayor of this amazing city. And I want to give a quick virtual shout out to my husband, Gary, who may be in another room listening to this. He really gives me support when I need it and gives me space when that's what I need as well. And next, I want to spend some time looking at some of the accomplishments of 2021 and a few things to look forward to in 2022. So this is sort of how I think about what 2021 has felt like, maybe even more so than 2020, because we really expected 2021 to be different, but we haven't gotten off of the pandemic roller coaster, but we have persevered despite a pandemic roller coaster. So I want to talk about some of those accomplishments and things that we've been able to do in 2021. We have to recognize our superheroes. They look a lot like this. These are the folks that interact with our community on a daily basis. I want to give the special nod to the Department of Public Works, our Decatur Police Department, Active Living, and our Department of Fire and Rescue. We tip our hats and thank you. And I hope we each remember to thank you when we see you out and about in our community, because although COVID has continued to challenge us all, these are the folks that we depend on every day. Some other adaptations have also led us to new decisions. We started with this. We had a temporary open container ordinance. We extended it at least 3 times, and this temporary ordinance was actually in effect through January 5th of 2022. And this is what it looked like. But now we ended with this and started 2022, at least after January the 5th, with this. We now have 6 business districts. The hours are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. And it is now a permanent ordinance. And look, we have new cups. Look for the new cups and support our local businesses and restaurants. We found this to be an effective strategy and one that we want to continue as we support our small businesses and restaurants in the city of Decatur. We also started 2021 with this mask mandate, and we ended 2021 with this mask mandate. And It's still in effect in 2022. This was adopted in response to COVID. We reinstated it in August because of the Delta variant. We've continued it because of Omicron. We do require that signs are posted in our businesses, and that businesses that don't consent to enforcement have to post signage indicating that. We also continue our vaccination campaigns, both internally and externally. And I'm proud to announce that the full-time city staff vaccination rate is now at 87%. Thanks to folks like Active Living Director Greg White, who is on this Zoom, I do believe. Thanks to people like Greg and others for helping us get to this impressive level. And although cases of Omicron are declining, case rates continue to be extremely high, and severe cases continue, especially in unvaccinated populations. So make sure you're vaccinated and boosted, that you social distance when you're in close contact, and that you wear a mask. These are important and appropriate responses that are our collective and individual responsibilities. We also supported our small businesses in 2021. We assisted 26 businesses with an average grant of $18,000, totaling $1.2 million of assistance to our small businesses. We also provided almost $500,000 to 22 nonprofits located in Decatur. These nonprofits employ a number of Decatur residents and support Decatur-based services. Another thing that we did in 2021 is we started a Decatur Retail Incubator program, also known as the DRIP program. 3 businesses were selected: Dope Coffee, A Better Buzz Brand Goods, and Royal Thanaka Natural Skin Care. The Downtown Development Authority is providing mentorship and rental assistance funding for these businesses located in the West Ponce district. DDA Chair Connor McNally noted that these 3 entrepreneurs showcase Decatur's diversity as they are owned and operated by women, people of color, and a member of the LGBTQ+ community, and they represent the best of Decatur. So check out these new businesses, and better yet, buy something from one of these new businesses. And here is another recent addition to the businesses in Decatur. Have you been there yet? I have, on multiple occasions. The new Publix is open. This development will eventually include 289 apartments and 3 public art installations. And from the crowds I've seen there, I think Decatur has found it, and it's a welcome addition to our city, and to especially to the neighborhoods that are close by, and that we can get there in almost in a minute and do our shopping. So welcome to Publix, and we welcome new neighbors to the apartments who will really enjoy having that Publix close by. Some other developments that you are seeing and hearing about: the Bank of America property, which is being transformed to include a new bank on the corner. The bank is completed. It will also have 194 apartments, 24,000 square feet of retail space, a public art installation, and a portion of the new cycle track that's being installed along Commerce that will connect to Church Street. That's also a part of the project. And the cycle track will continue up Church Street to Glen Lake Park to the end of our city limits. And coming soon are 80 new affordable housing units. They're senior housing units, and they're going to be next to the Avondale MARTA station, the Avondale Decatur MARTA station, because that MARTA station is in our city limits. These are in addition to the 92 senior units that were completed in 2018. And we thank our partners, MARTA, Columbia Residential, and the Decatur Housing Authority for making this happen. We look forward to seeing those become a reality. We also have our first approved project under the city's new inclusionary housing ordinance. It's called Halo Decatur, East Decatur. I almost think it's like, are they saying hello? This is also in very close proximity to the Avondale Decatur MARTA station. In addition to 372 units, which includes 41 affordable units, amenities such as a 1-acre green space and a co-working space are included. And the city is providing some of the funding through the tax allocation fund that was established in 2015 to help further development in this specific area. Again, a shout out to former Mayor Bill Floyd, who thought this was a great place to have a tax allocation district, knowing that at some point it was going to be developed and there could be a capture of those funds as that property increased in value, making funds available to go back into that particular area for infrastructure and other amenities as part of that development. This is a $110 million project, and the City Commission has approved about $5.3 million over 10 years from the tax allocation district funds. And some TAD funding is also a part of the recently approved Columbia residential senior housing project that I just mentioned. Decatur continues to be open for business. The city has issued 88 new business licenses in 2021. Although we had 74 businesses closed, if my math is correct, that's a net gain of 14 new businesses. I encourage all of us to support our local favorites, but to continue to explore our drip businesses and other new businesses and welcome them to our business and to our community districts in Decatur. Remember the census? We did that this year as well. We completed the census count in 2021. You may remember Oscar was on our garbage trucks to remind us that we make our families count. We noticed significant growth. We grew from a population of 19,335 to 24,928 from the 2010 to the 2020 census. If we were in person, I would ask those who were not a part of our census count in 2010 to let us know that, to stand up so that we could see how our audience was reflecting that growth. We've grown by almost 30% in 10 years. And as Jana mentioned, we also saw the passing of the senior homestead exemption for city schools of Decatur. This is a senior tax homestead exemption for a portion of the school taxes. And as she mentioned, the ballot referendum was first approved by our state legislature and then by the voters in November. Thanks to CSD and our state representatives and to the voters for helping keep Decatur more affordable for seniors. Some other things that happened in 2021. One of the things was the installation of this historical marker. If you haven't seen it, it's located on the corner of North McDonough and West Trinity Place. Look for it, read it, find out about why it's there. Because this marker marks the former site of the jail where in October 1960, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was sentenced, jailed, and driven off in chains to serve a 4-month hard labor sentence for violating probation in a misdemeanor traffic case. What happened next with the Kennedy administration paved the way for his release and major civil rights legislation. Thanks to all involved who did the research, brought this forward to our community, and reminded us of this pivotal and many times mostly unknown point in our history. There's also a brochure available. I encourage you to find out more about this particular event and why this marker is placed in our city. We also know that festivals returned in person in 2021. We had the Wine Festival, the Book Festival, Arts Festival, Amplified Decatur Music Festival weekend, and some first-time festivals celebrating Placida Latina and the Pan-African Festival. I look forward to what's in store for 2022 and look forward to seeing you at these outdoor festivals as well. We really can't talk about 2021 without acknowledging and applauding the adoption of the 2020 strategic plan. Our first kickoff was in person in early January of 2020. That seems ages ago. It feels ages ago. We gathered in person, 800 strong, no one in a mask. It's hard to remember what that felt like. Then we paused, and then we continued with virtual roundtables. Then we had virtual focus area 202s that continued in 2021, along with online surveys and pop-up opportunities for input. In the fall of 2021, the City Commission adopted Destination 2030. And I think this page speaks volumes about the direction the city will take over the next 10 years, with genuine commitment to racial equity and inclusion surrounding every decision, and the consideration of climate action strategies as we seek to meet goals set forward for economic growth, civic trust, affordable housing, and mobility. In Decatur, everything is connected, and the vision for the city states that Decatur will foster an equitable, thriving, and welcoming community for all, today and in the future. Hold us accountable as we move forward with bold initiatives. Speaking of bold initiatives, we passed an updated tree ordinance. This actually passed, as you see, in January of 2022. But I think the commission and the staff will all agree that we spent much of 2021 getting us to this place. I believe we had more work sessions about our tree ordinance than any other project or ordinance that I've seen adopted since I've been on the City Commission. The ordinance will take effect on March 21st, and you can be sure that additional information will be disseminated to the public before that time. We want to collect data over the next year to gauge input, to look at impacts on equity, and make sure that the new ordinance is accomplishing what we want it to accomplish. And we need to track it and see what the results are. I want to thank everyone who on the staff and those who participated in this public input process. And we look forward to seeing what happens next with this ordinance and other strategic initiatives that we take in the area of climate change and protecting our city. Next, I want to talk a little bit about Legacy Park, because we're beginning to meet some of the goals of the Legacy Park Master Plan. If you have not visited this remarkable piece of property, please do so. You'll find a cross-country trail. You'll see invasives, lots of ivy and undergrowth being removed so that we can make sure that those trees remain healthy and that we can make sure that we can actually begin to see the trees for all of the undergrowth. You'll also see new tenants such as wild nest bird rehabilitation facilities. Come when we have Truckin' Tuesdays, those will start back this spring. You may see some folks gathering for a small wedding in the chapel. And you might also see signs that a movie is being shot. The remake of The Wonder Years includes a lot of scenes shot inside our 50s era buildings, just what they needed, as well as other outdoor scenes. And speaking of action shots, be sure to watch the new series, Naomi, about a teenage superhero in Port Oswego, also known as downtown Decatur. I watched it. There's lots of fun scenes that feature our square, some with the mountains superimposed behind our square. So our movie and film industry continues, and we're thrilled to be able to accommodate many of those fun movies and series that have kept us entertained during the pandemic. The city's also partnering with the Decatur Housing Authority for the South Housing Village. This $30 to $35 million project is an important step in providing more affordable housing options in Decatur. We're truly excited to partner with the Decatur Housing Authority. You'll hear more about this as things progress. The plan is for DHA to present plans to the City Commission in the spring and then seek funding through the state process. And the city will help provide some of the public infrastructure that will be needed. So we all look forward to hearing more about this, and we are truly excited about the intergovernmental agreement that we have signed with the Housing Authority to begin to make this part of Legacy Park a reality. Part of our genuine commitment to the community is to also find ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and to set clean energy targets. We are in the process of developing a clean energy plan. There's a Decatur Clean Energy Roundtable. It's the third one. It's called The Built Environment. It will take place on February 24th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. There will also be a public integrated planning charrette happening on March 8th and March 9th, 2022. You can find out more about our commitment to clean energy at cleanenergydecatur.com. Please come, please participate in the process as we develop goals and strategies for moving towards a cleaner energy future for the city of Decatur. We also have a large solar array and backup battery that's going to be installed very soon at Public Works. We're utilizing grants from the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, or GEFA, and city funding. What a fun ribbon cutting that's going to be. We'll see what that looks like. And we continue to partner with Agnes Scott College on our joint climate resiliency plan. And yes, the downtown master plan is coming, and we'll soon be making announcements of how to participate in that and when exactly that's going to happen. But it is on schedule to start this year. So we look forward and hope that you will participate in the downtown master plan. So the plan is coming, but the planters are going away. They're going to be replaced with permanent traffic calming measures that will make the railroad crossing safer for pedestrians and bicyclists. So one thing comes in and one thing goes out. I look forward to seeing what that final plan and installation looks like. And who knows, maybe this time next year, people can take home a planter if they want one, or maybe even before that, there may be a great opportunity for people to put their own planters in their own yards. So, but I think we all look forward to the next steps for the Atlanta Avenue Railroad Crossing project. And I also want to mention some of the opportunities that we have with our partnerships from our federal partners. I want to mention the federal programs and funding that the city will be receiving over the next few years to meet our strategic planning goals and to recover from the pandemic. I want to say thank you to our federal partners, to the Georgia Municipal Association, the National League of Cities, who worked very hard to get cities direct funding. This is the first time this has ever happened, that cities actually received direct funding that was not dependent on state allocation or other allocations to get this money. The funding is allotted based on population. We will receive $9.6 million, or approximately $9.6 million. We've already received half of that money and will receive the other half in 2022. The final Treasury guidelines are expected to be out in April 22. I think what we have now are what are called the interim final Treasury guidelines. So we're not far from knowing better exactly how these funds can be spent. But we'll certainly be looking for opportunities to, in our planning and our budget planning, on how to use these funds for infrastructure, for things like our maybe infrastructure for our affordable housing needs, for our stormwater, and other acceptable ways to spend these funds. And then there's also another federal assistance called the infrastructure bill that we will be able to apply for grants from. It is the bipartisan infrastructure law, and some are now calling it the bill that has been enacted, and we will be eligible to applying for grants specifically for infrastructure improvements. So now that you're in the know of what has happened in 2021 and what we have planned for 2022, I want to thank you all for being here this evening. I thank you for your attention, and I wish you all a safe, healthy, and productive 2022, and look forward to seeing you all in person next year. So thanks again for being here. And I'll turn it now back to Mr. Fun to see if you have any announcements.
Well, that is a whole lot. And yes, we are so thankful for all of the great and wonderful things that happened last year. And we are so looking forward to all of the great and wonderful things that are going to happen this year. I want to thank each and every person who showed up today. So thankful for you. If you would not mind, if it is not too much to ask, what I would like for you to do is just for a moment, if you are able, to put your faces on the screen. What I would like to do is take a giant photo of everyone that is here. So if you could, just for one moment, I didn't want to get that photo where somebody's like, looking like that, or, you know, maybe putting food in their face or something. If you can't put yourself on the screen, totally fine. All right, on the count of three, everybody say Decatur. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, we totally didn't hear anybody say anything, but that's because we're all on mute, and that's totally fine. It's, you know, it wasn't intentional. So yeah, that's really great. I thank you all once again. Thank you, all of our commissioners. Thank you, Mayor, for being so wonderful and amazing. And congratulations to all of our service people, those who have done such a great job. It has been a pleasure being the president of the DBA and meeting all of you. I look forward to us getting back out in person at some point in time. Yeah, when the earth wants to act right. I want you all to have a great and wonderful rest of the evening. Have a wonderful week. Smile, wash your hands, and say something positive. And wear your mask, please, because it's so helpful. So thank you, and good night, everybody.